Hello, welcome back. We've written our story, we're now ready to publish. Let's get started. Now I could write a whole course just on publishing, on self-publishing, about how you do it, about how you print, about desktop publishing, but I'm just going to show in a really quick and really simple way the two elements that need to be done. The first is the text block. This is the actual text of your story, how it needs to be laid out. And then secondly, the desktop publishing for the cover. Okay, so the first thing we need is our text block. This is how it goes out as a PDF file, which is just the text ready for the printers to turn into a book. So the first thing I want to do is take all of my text and strip out all of the formatting. And the easiest way to make sure that happens is to copy it, paste it into a simple text editor like Notepad, and that guarantees that all of the formatting is gone. Copy it and paste it back into the word processor. I've already done that. I have it here now in Microsoft Word, and we're going to publish our book in A format. So sometimes in America it's called trade paperback, which is a nice small size. So I'm going to set a custom size, and a trade paperback is 11 centimeters wide and 17.8 centimeters in height. Let's do that, which is now made it up. And you can see I've already been preparing this one. I've already been at work splitting up. So I've got here a copyright page. Firstly, I'm going to put into my favorite font for publishing, which is Garamond. I think 12 points is a really good size. On my first pages, I normally try and make something special with these short run paperbacks, and I'll only print, say, 100 of them. So you can see there I've got a QR code, and there it says this paperback is number, there's a space, of 100 printed hard copies. I have a special stamp that I can stamp the numbers in there. But all we need to do now is make up the text into the right format. And to do that, because novels are so easy, we only need 3 paragraph styles. So at the moment, everything is in something that I call no space. You'll see I've got these paragraph styles up here. And ideally, the bulk of the text for the story should have an indent after on each paragraph. So if we select all of the text, I already have, oops, if I show you this, I already have it with an indent. If I show you what this looks like, so we go to modify. So over here it's set up, this is how each paragraph does, but there's a special indentation for the first line is 1 centimeter. And then I have another one that says no space, which you'll see in just a second. So the first part of my book, we know that these are centered. So I have, as you can see if I show you this one, you can see the style is there, it's just centered. I've missed that off. We go to center. This little dedication for my friends. We go to center. For the title, we'll center that again. I think we'll make the title a little bit larger. And then when it comes to the text block, what we want is we don't want that indent for certain things. So we don't need it for that quote. So we take it off, no space. And then for everything else, we have the indent. So this at the top, actually this line here, because it's a quote, we can right align that, and then you can see that we're without a space, without an indent. And then once we get to the text, the first paragraph is always without an indent, and every subsequent paragraph after that should have an indent, which is exactly what we've got. And then once we get down to this little section, center that, this first one, no space, this first paragraph, no space, but everything else afterwards is indented. So you can see it's quite simple, quite straightforward. All we need to do is make sure that we get these pieces right. And we still need to put on headers and footers to put the page number in. Well, that's a simple matter as well, just to go straight forward with that. But this is the text block. Once we have it ready, we save it as a PDF and it's ready to go to the printers. Right, so here we are ready to desktop publish. I have my artwork, which I'll place into the background. One of the things you'll need to discover is the size of the book spine. And you'll find that by talking to the printer. And in this case, we know from the text box that we have 142 printed pages. And the printer has come back and told me that this will equate to 1 centimeter spine width. So when I set this page up, I just have to set it and say that the spine will be 1 centimeter. You don't need, I'm using some software here, some quite dated software called Page Plus. And I just wanted to use it to demonstrate that you don't need to have very expensive software in order to do this. I mean, even MS Publisher, which comes with Microsoft's Office suite, will do for book covers, because there isn't a great deal of information to be putting in. It's only a few elements to put on. If you're a cover designer, well, most cover designers, because they're quite artistic, they'll have their own desktop publishing anyway, so they might be able to do it for you. One thing I would say, if you are doing it yourself, is really look at the importance of color, because, and especially for brightness, because when you come to printing, you'll find that a computer screen has light behind it, where when you print with inks on paper, it looks a bit dull. So what you need to do is you'll always need to go to your main image or your main graphics and look at the levels, and what you will need to do is start adjusting them to make them a little bit brighter. So let's see what this one looks like. That's a little bit too bright. And the best way to do it is just to print it. I like to print with an inkjet printer on photogloss paper. That normally gives quite a good realization. It's also worth getting some color match cards, especially with a cover like this, because there's lots of red. Red is a very difficult color for the printers to make. So if you get some color matching cards, and you can check the CMYK color code, which you'll notice up here at the top, we've got RGB, but we can look at the CMYK color, and we can actually take the eyedropper and look at something and then see exactly what the CMYK colors are, and then match them against a color card. Because with red, what will quite often happen is it comes back from the printer either slightly brown or slightly orange. So it's difficult to get a very close approximation to what you're seeing on the screen. So it's always worth doing. But this is the desktop publishing. You don't need a lot of software, you don't need a lot of skill, you just need a good eye for design. So maybe your cover designer can do it for you. So now that everything's done, we're ready to send that to the printers. And in the next episode, we'll see what the finished product looks like.